I have a good ability or gift with is taking this hardcore science and then being able to regurgitate it in a way that like my 72-year-old mom can understand it, or my 12-year-old twins. Like test all these products, whether it was gut health or blood tests, and that's what I found a passion in. And one time I came across quantum, and I was like, wonderful, I'm going to debunk this. Like quantum is a scam, and I'm here to save my community, and I'm going to show them what's wrong.
Thank you so much for joining us for another awesome episode of Bioenergetics Beat. I'm Heather Gray, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and certified bioenergetic practitioner, and this episode is brought to you today by Nikki, Unleash the Wellness Within. It's a non-invasive, easily affordable, and highly effective approach to optimize wellness. It's a wearable device that puts frequency-based better life in your hands and on your wrist. You're going to want to make sure to stick to the very end because we have an amazing giveaway that you're not going to want to miss out. But as usual, you're not going to want to miss out on one word that my next guest has to say because we're going to go deep into the world of quantum, which I know you guys all geek out on and love. And they've got an incredible product line that, I personally have quite a few of their products and have for a while. Love them. But without further ado, let's welcome Todd Shipman to the show. Yay.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So give us a little bit of background on yourself. Like, who are you? What makes you tick? Why are we talking about quantum today? How did you even get into that industry? Because it's not something that's just kind of, quote unquote, mainstream, right? Although we're hoping to make it more mainstream, right?
Yeah, I was actually looking back at my Facebook memories, like just a few days ago, and one of them popped up. It was like a 2008 where I'm like, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to be a quantum physicist. I thought that was really funny because, like, at that point, it would literally just be the most cheesiest comment I could make.
Shut
Um,
up.
and and I was looking at like, wow, it's really cool to see like when you put something out in the air and like it just comes back into the field. It just popped up. I was like, oh my gosh, how funny that was 15 plus years ago. So that's how it all happened, really. It was just throwing it onto Facebook one day and it manifested. But, I've really been into just alternative health for quite some time. Back in, 2009, 2010-ish, I was a competitive ultra runner where I ran the like 100 to 200-mile ultra marathons while trying to juggle a job, have three kids, relationship and everything, and how do I manage everything? And basically, the key point of everything was kind of like, how do you do minimum effort with maximum results? And it's kind of how I got into the entire biohacking world, was just through like ice baths and finding that I could recover and walk the next day after running 100 miles straight. Usually you shuffle for a few days because you're so stiff, and learning about that. So as an extremist as I was clearly doing these long super distances, I realized ice baths work. What else is next? What else is next? And it was continuously, what else can I do? What else can I do? And find something and do that. And what I really found cool is that, there's so many things that we, as people that are looking and struggling through health and wellness, like there's so many things that we're actively looking for. And while there's so many answers, there's this massive gap in the bridge to those two things. And it's like people with Lyme disease, mold, all this stuff, like they will do anything to get better. But what's blocking them is the access to even the knowledge, and I see that with family members. And I kind of really got into it. I love science. I love really hardcore, cool, like data that comes up with things. And what I have found that I have a good ability or gift with is taking this hardcore science and then being able to regurgitate it in a way that like my 72-year-old mom can understand it, or my 12-year-old twins. Like, and that has kind of become a passion of mine. So that's where social media started up. And I was doing all this stuff, and I was starting to like test all these products and spend money on testing myself, and whether it was gut health or blood tests. And that's what I found a passion in. And one time I came across quantum, and I was like, wonderful, I'm going to debunk this. Like quantum is a scam, and I'm here to save my community, and I'm going to show them what's wrong. And um, this was in 2015. And what I'd done is I'd gotten this quantum charge necklace, and it was charged with the frequencies. It was imprinted with frequencies of all the micronutrients. And back then, I was a very monotonous eater. I could eat the same meal every day for as long as I ever wanted, really. So I had no problem. And now this wasn't like hardcore science, but what I started with is I was doing these micronutrients, spectra cell micronutrient tests. And I did myself, and I got a baseline for 40 days, and I was deficient in these certain minerals. And then I wore this necklace for 40 days. And when I retested again, these are expensive. They're like $400 to $600 tests that I was doing. And so I got my first one, I did my second one, and the things that I was deficient in, I was now optimal. And the things that I was already optimal in didn't go higher. So it was like a balance. And I was like, okay, there's something to this, but I'm also completely open and aware of the concept, of like, oh, was this all in my head, right? Like, is
Placebo
it's
effect.
yeah, it's like, is this a placebo? I'm totally open to it if it is. So I went and continued. And I did another 40 days, and my numbers were still optimal. I did it again, and they were optimal. And then I stopped wearing it. And then when I got that test, those went back to deficient. And again, so this wasn't like university studies, but it was enough for me to go, there's something to this. Um, and that's where I moved forward with all this. And I just started going into the deeper into quantum. And, because I understand that there can be, and especially even in this, alternative health world, is there could still be a lot of like skepticism to quantum. And I think that's also due to because there's a lot of unethical marketing. We see it on Facebook and Instagram where you're scrolling, you'll see quantum patches, for your phone and stuff. And it kind of dilutes the process. And some of them, I'm not saying that there's nothing out there that's legitimate, but us as a company, we've tested every quantum patch for like the phones, and we don't see, at least by testing through biomarkers, we don't see the results that they claim. It doesn't mean, unless they're claiming it some other way, but that's where the marketing gets really murky, because what they're claiming, which for us, our way that you like, doesn't matter placebo or not, that you test this through biomarkers, your heart rate variability, your live blood analysis, a calcium channel production, like heart rate. Those are how we're testing it, and we test those things. It doesn't work. So that's kind of like where I got into this. And now I'm just about like shouting it on top of the rooftop, as well as other technologies. But quantum is really cool stuff. Quantum energy, it's quantum physics, quantum entanglement, quantum biology, mechanics. And I think those words just kind of get overused a lot, and um, they're mentioned to other things for people that are looking for health and wellness.
You're freaking hilarious because I think you're the first person I've ever had on the show that the reason they got into a field was to debunk it. And then you became a convert, which is awesome. The majority of
Yeah,
people, it's a pain to purpose type of story. And you're like, nah, I just wanted to debunk it.
yeah, that's why I have a lot of like enthusiasm too, and a lot of understanding, empathy, and sympathy for people who initially come at us saying this is false, you're scamming people, and like I don't get affected by it because I get it because that's where I came from, and then it's really cool to be able to show them that like for our company, we have over almost 70 double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. Because also with quantum energy and the way that we are actually harnessing it, which is kind of a proprietary aspect of the products. So it is, and we're fully aware that the ball is always in our court to prove that everything works. And that's why, again, with Leela Quantum, I think at this point we have over 70 double-blind placebo-controlled studies, and they're
That was
really
going to be one of
fascinating.
my questions is because how do you, I'm just supposed to take your word for it that this thing is charged and, we'll create structured water and, how. So that's great that you're doing
Yeah.
studies because we've done the
Well,
same thing
again, it's
with
on us,
different,
right?
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
on us to prove it, as well as other companies that are making these claims, and you want your customers to trust you. Like with your water bottle that you just held, we sent that to the Emoto Institute. Now, most people know about
Nice.
Dr. Emoto and the work that was done with that. So we sent that water bottle to the Emoto Institute. And really cool fact, and this could have changed in the last few months, but I don't think it has, is we are the only product that they actually carry and sell at the Emoto Institute. They were so
What?
impressed with our water bottles and the effect that it had, positive effects on the water, that they were like, can we actually like wholesale these and distribute them at our institute? So that's really like a cool part of our Emoto, because I work with Emoto Institute, other stuff with other water structuring devices, and they don't even do that, So it's cool because you're imprinting it also. You're not just structuring it, it's being imprinted with frequency. So
Okay, yeah, I said we definitely know a thing or two about frequencies, and like I said, we've had different doctors do different biomarker lab tests, blood lab tests as well to show the difference, and it's been incredible. And I love the wearables these days too, because I noticed that I can the heart rate variability and my sleep score, and I can see what gets affected because the more data points that then you're not just snake oil or feeling duped, because
Well,
there are.
because especially with those like the Aura rings and any of the wearables we have is, there's nothing technically, in my opinion, more impactful than what we feel. So when we feel something, at some point, it's like, I don't care how the science and data works. I can feel it. I know it's working. Then that's the ultimate belief system on my end, where if I can feel it, that's great. But like for a lot of things we don't feel, and being able to double check in with the devices, right? So it's like, oh, I had a really great sleep, and then you look at it and it's like, yeah, that's why, because I got tons of deep sleep, and my HRV was up. So like, you kind of have that, reaffirmation of or affirmation of like, yeah, this worked. So even though you don't feel it, you can't like placebo your HRV. Like your HRV is what it is, right? We can't really in our it's like it's a truth teller to everything, and being able to check and see where your HRV is can tell you a lot about like what you're doing and your lifestyle and all that. So it doesn't matter, it's not a subjective thing, it's just that's the number. You can manipulate it in other ways, but you're not going to be doing it like in a placebo way.
Right, right, right. Absolutely. So this is a great spot. We're going to pause real quick for a commercial. When we come back, I want to take a couple steps back and have Todd explain what is quantum energy, just for
Mhm.
those of us that, are new to listening and just need a refresher. And then also we're going to dive deeper into the products that his company has come up with. Leela Quantum Tech. I used to have the necklace. I've got a water bottle. I'm a fan. So I want to dive deeper into that as well. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Steve. I'm an engineer, a biohacker, and a dad, and I love my Nikki. I use three different programs on this one mostly. In the mornings, I run Energy Boost, which honestly is about the equivalent of a cup of coffee. I still have my coffee, but this does make a difference. After work, I run my stress and anxiety program, and that takes me from being like, task mode from work to really kind of chilled out dad mode, which is nice. And occasionally, when I need it, I run the pain program as well. I actually tore my ACL last September, middle of September, and I was running again by middle of October. No surgery, no therapy, just the pain program once a day. So I've worked with red light therapy for several years now, and like I said, this is just about my favorite because it is so easy to use. I just put it on my wrist in the morning, run it all day. Don't even notice it's there except for how I feel. So I love it.
Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health. We are Nikki.com.
Fantastic. Welcome back. Let's dive deeper. Tell us a little bit about what is quantum energy. And when you're talking about quantum energy, what does that mean?
Yeah, we really jumped past that, and I
Yeah, we did.
apologize. We went into everything, and people are usually first talking about like quantum energy, and we kind of jumped the part. So I do apologize to everyone listening to that we skipped over that very important part. So quantum energy is basically it's the we call like the energy or anything like behind the matter at a subatomic level. So this is energy. This isn't something we created. This is something that's around since existence. It's just in the ether. And this isn't like it's not like a positive and it's not a negative energy. It's really like a pure neutralizing energy. And though it radiates out, which is where the benefits come, because it's basically harmonizing and neutralizing anything that is within itself. So it's kind of like if you can think about it, and like with our products, is it's almost like you're bubble wrapping yourself in a protective layer between all like external environmental stressors. And that is how we utilize our products. Is we're basically generating this pure quantum energy out, and it almost creates this like protective or bubble and in your biofield. So um, that's kind of the where the all these benefits that we can talk about with the studies is coming from, it's basically creating a space for you that is completely harmonized and neutralized, as if you weren't around EMFs. Even though we have EMFs in the existence, like we're trying to work with these things synergistically. And that's kind of a big part about Leela products too, because the founder, Philip, he was vice president, global vice president of T-Mobile. So he was on the other side of technology and luxuries of communication. And, we have Faraday cages. We have all these things that most people utilize to block EMFs. But if you're blocking EMFs, you can't use it, right? So you and I wouldn't really be able to be having this conversation. And that's where we can take advantage of luxuries while working synergistically. Because even though there are EMFs in my space, they're all like the harmful effects that they have on the body are completely neutralized around me, and we can prove that, like I said, with our biomarkers that we test.
That's incredible. Yeah, I'm bummed. I lost my necklace in the divorce, so I need to get a new one again. But I did keep my water bottle. I love my water bottle. So tell us a little bit
Yeah.
more. I just mentioned the necklace. Tell us a little bit about some of the products that you guys have come up with, some of the technology around it, how it works, and dive in a little deeper into that area.
We have we have a very wide range of products. So we have I'll even start with just our clothing. So I always wear this. I'm wearing this right now because it's actually cold where I am in Northern California. But this is a jacket that we have, and it's a true EMF blocking jacket. So if I had my cell phone in a pocket, it wouldn't work because it's a silver lining. Um, as as well as it is charged with specific frequencies. So this is great. We have hats, we have t-shirts, we have hoodies, beanies. We have just a few other like things for like clothing. But then on top of that, kind of our more common products would be like our capsule. So like you're talking about our necklace, we have little frequency cards that are the exact size and they replicate kind of like a credit card, so they can fit just perfectly in your wallet. We have bracelets. We have our blocks. We have these we call it quantum energy generators. So these are larger blocks that you can put things in. And we have, like I said, the water bottle. It kind of like a wide range of. We have coasters. We now have like dog collars, and these are all charged. So all of our products, by the way, I'm gonna step back again. They are all charged with the pure quantum energy. So at a very baseline, all of our products are going to neutralize the harmful effects that EMFs have on the body. So that's what every product does. But then what you're choosing between our option is going to be based off of like what frequencies you're wanting, because the EMF neutralization is really maybe 5 or 10% of what our products are for. Because that's just a byproduct / benefit of pure quantum energy is the harmonization of EMFs. But like, there's so much more further with each product that you decide to get. Like, what frequencies does it have that you can add and kind of give access to your biofield?
Do the frequencies that you charge, like, do you ever have to recharge them? Does that ever go away? How does that work?
That's a great question. And with something that is metal, you never have to recharge it. So, and what I'm saying as an example is like, so our products, if you get them, they never need to be recharged. Now, for like our quantum energy, like our blocks or generators, those are things that you can put jewelry under and they'll be charged forever. But if you put something like your cell phone, or something that's like actively producing EMFs, you want to recharge that probably every 4 to 6 weeks, like it'll help suppress the amount of EMFs that it puts out. And then your clothing, if you put clothing under there, you'd want to recharge that every once in a while. But you can put things like food under there. And like if you put fruit under the block, it will, just because it's structuring any of the water, it actually structures the fruit and takes it back to its original organic state. There are stores all around the country that utilize our technology for like their food. For example, Sun Life Organics, which is all in Southern California, Florida, and Texas. They use our blocks and they put all of these. They have very bougie acai bowls and smoothies are like $50. Some of these products they have, and they put all of their smoothies and stuff through our blocks because they understand that it enhances the flavor of them too. So.
Wow, that's kind of cool. Yeah, and I had no idea you guys had the clothing. Like, I don't know how I missed that, but
It's actually not something we sell a lot. Not that we don't sell a lot, we don't push it to sell, because at the same end, these are actual EMF block. Our clothes are silver, so they block EMFs. And Philip's true his focus on this is living synergistically with all of this. So not having to block it, not limit yourself from these things, but to be able to work with it. But and one thing I do appreciate about our clothing is, there are plenty of options out there for clothing, but ours, like I can go through an airport and you wouldn't know that this is an EMF blocking jacket. It's a Montclair jacket, right? It just looks nice. It's actually, I can be in 30-degree weather, Fahrenheit, and be totally fine, but I'm not. I call it like low key biohacking. Like I'm not walking around the airport with like, look at me, guys, look at me, I'm being healthy. But
Right.
after so long a time, like there's a lot of brands out there that they have like entire zip up, like you zip all the way to the top of your head, and I mean, and not, I don't mean this in a mean way, but it looks like you're about to go rob someplace because your whole face is covered, right? And I don't mean that that way, but like you draw attention to yourself when you wear that type of stuff, and that's not something I personally want to go to an airport with. And I love this, and I wear a hat, and that's the benefit of it. But again, Philip, we create them for there is a necessity, but it's not like our key focus that we're pushing these products out like more so than our other things where you can utilize all this stuff. And like I said, if I put my phone in my pocket, it won't work, which
That's
because it's like a
incredible.
Faraday cage. But everything else, you can still use it. You can use stuff in your cars. A lot of people don't realize how much EMFs come in our cars. Of course, we have like the electric cars, and those are just that's an insanity amount of of damage happening to you. But a lot of people, even if they don't have like an electrical car, is you still, for the newer cars, they all have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And a lot of people think just because if you're not connected to that Bluetooth, you're not utilizing the Bluetooth, and it's actually the opposite. So if you're not connected to Bluetooth in your car and it has Bluetooth, it's going to be working harder to look for it, right? And I know it's a weird term, but they're social creatures. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are desperate to be connected. So when they're not connected, they are working harder, and then they're emitting more EMS. So just because you're not using them doesn't mean anything. Same thing with your phone. Like if you're in a place where you don't have cell service, you should turn it on airplane mode, because if you're not connected to something, it's looking even harder to connect to something, and then it's putting out more EMFs. That's why the worst thing ever for EMF exposure really is on a plane when you're landing, because as soon as you land, everyone turns on their phone, and that thing is just all of them are like scattering desperately to connect to something, and you're just in that. The people don't think about that's like the worst time of an airplane is landing, when everyone just
Huh.
turns on their phones.
Crazy. Well, this has been enlightening, and I've learned quite a few things. I'm super excited to get on the site and look for the clothing, because right now I have a crystal blanket that I use when I go through, but having the blanket's still kind of weird too. It looks different. To if I just had some clothes, then I could just, be Joe Cool, smooth, smooth operator.
Yeah.
Nobody knows, right? So this is the shameless plug time of the show. So where can people find out more information about your company's products?
Here we have Leela Quantum. So it's just Leela, LEELAQ.com. You can also just Google Leela Quantum, but LeelaQ.com. We have Leela Quantum on social media. And if you have any, if some of this stuff is like still, confusing in a way, like our social media is really good. A lot of information on there, and you can always ask questions on there. And we also have a Telegram group of like 8,000 people, and it's not ran by us. It is Leela Quantum, which you can find in the link to bio on our Instagram. But you can ask people questions on there. It's just a bunch of users that are showing how they utilize our products and how they benefit from them. So that's a great place to start too.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you so much. And make sure you also visit wearenikki.com/podcast. Enter in BioBeats for 10% off. And because we really love our customers and we want to show our appreciation, we give away a free Nikki device and wellness set of frequencies, a $598 value on every show. So make sure to go to the show notes to figure out how you can sign up to win, and also to check out Leela Quantum's products. And in the meanwhile, make sure to have a healthy day, and thanks for joining us.
The very first day that I wore the device, I slept through the night, which is amazing.
It looks like a little watch, but it's actually a frequency device. It's bioenergetic, so it has this little frequency light situation that goes into your arm, and it pretty much makes an immediate difference.
So there's like a sleep mode. When I go mountain biking, I throw it on an energy booster. Once I'm done mountain biking, I actually switch it to the other mode they have, is pain and relief.
When I'm in a stressful situation and I put it on, it helps me almost immediately. I immediately feel calmer, whether that's a frequency or me knowing that it's working or knowing that it's helping in addition to that.
One of my buddies was like, do not discount this. This is an amazing device. You've got to give it a chance.
It's got so many options. I'm just going to go over, it's like a menu that you can choose. It's so easy to use. You just click on what you like. For example, it's got travel, pain relief, energy boost, allergies.
I really, really love this device. In fact, I have two of them because when one is charging, I want to wear the other because I'm never without it.
It will never give you something when your body doesn't need and it is not natural. That's what I love about the device.
Put it on focus, maybe halfway through the day as I was losing focus. And within about 10 minutes of turning on, I feel like my brain is just like, I'm connected. Like, wow.
Trying all the frequencies and I love it. The one I'm using right now out on my walk is energy. It just energizes me. And I'm finding that I've got more stamina and more energy than I thought I would.
My Nikki helps me sleep better at night and helps me feel less stressed.
I really been enjoying it. So I've noticed my energy's been up. I've been sleeping better.
So the Nikki is one price, and then you pay for the frequency sets separately. So you can get the wellness one, which is awesome. I really do love the new Lime frequencies so much. It's incredible.
Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health. wearenikki.com. The views, information, and opinions expressed in this content are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Freemedica. Freemedica Technologies, Inc. and its employees are not responsible, nor verifies accuracy any of the information contained in the following content. The primary purpose of this content is to educate and inform. This content does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.